First of all, thank you for having me here today. It's an honor to be here. It's nice for everybody here to host and to be part of this summit. What I would like to do today before going through my presentation, I'd like to start off by showing you something I don't believe any of you have ever seen before. A photo of my car. It's not very exciting, and as you can see, but it's useful. I have 2 children. My wife and I use this vehicle like a workhorse in our house. I'm sharing this with you today because the car hasn't always been such a simple part of our lives. In fact, in 1865, Britain passed a law that required any automobile to have a person carrying a red flag walk in front of it. It's true. Wikipedia, you can look it up. They restricted the use of the technology by continuing to use it in old ways. They were literally getting in their own way. This is traffic in Las Vegas today. Clearly, we've come a long way. And here's the challenge or the thought that I would like to put out there today as I go through the next 20-25 minutes. Marketing on social technology in a connection-based world, building loyalty in today's marketing climate. I believe we are walking in front of ourselves with a red flag. Today I want to walk through what it means to get out of our own way and what it looks like as the world evolves to a more social world. But before doing so, I want to lighten it up a little bit and talk a little bit about Facebook. So a quick show of hands, lights. How many of you here are on Facebook? Wow, that's pretty humbling. So I don't know if I want to ask this. How many of you are on Facebook right now? Okay, nobody, that's good. So you are paying attention. Anyhow, the point that I'm trying to make here is that when you think about Facebook, when our 800 million consumers think about Facebook, this is what they see. They see the things that are important to them. They see their friends. They see what matters. This is a team of Facebook engineers. They're in a war room. Sometimes they code for hours or days to launch products, to fix bugs, to update algorithms. This is what I see when I see Facebook. This is some of the smartest group of people I've ever worked with in my entire life. Now, I'm just a sales and marketing guy, so my work is in PowerPoint or Keynote. So the next slide I want to share with you, please bear with me. It's a little bit unfinished. This is a Facebook slide template. It's the other thing I see when I come to work. I'm sure many of you have seen this in various presentations, though by the time you see it, somebody's double-clicked to edit. But I want to draw your attention to something else you've probably also seen a lot. This corner. Does anybody know what's in this corner? What we call this? Close, right? It's a social graph. What does that mean? This is me, right? So, hello. I joined Facebook in 2010. I was recruited because of a friend of mine, Sheryl Sandberg. Before I was at Facebook, as was noted in my introduction, I ran a small startup, also with my friend, Carrie Trainer. The company was called FlipGloss. Carrie and I have a mutual friend, Paul Ollinger. Paul Ollinger also worked at a small company called Launch. In 2001, Launch was acquired by Yahoo. 13 and a half years ago, I was introduced via a friend. His name is Hugh Nielsen. He invited me to a private party in New Orleans, a private function. He had a coworker by the name of Sonia. He introduced us that night. She's now my best friend, my wife, the mother of our 2 children. This is my social graph. This social graph is what those engineers were working on in the photo that I showed you earlier. This is the technology that's under the hood of Facebook. But what exactly is it? In a word, it's connections. We like to think of this as essential connections. It's the map or the framework that is so game-changing, in our opinion, that the scope and the potential for marketers around the world is just only beginning. And so I ask, can we set down our red flags and think about the world in a more social way? I've heard academically that we live in a post-connection world. We believe connections are here to stay, and how we market in this era of technology is up to us. I want to take a thought exercise, and I hope you will hear me on this. This map is imperfect, but it's meant to be illustrative of what is possible in the way we're thinking about loyalty. So I want to go back to my car for a second, the Randall family school bus. Literally, we homeschool our children. It is our school bus. I'm 38 years old. That's my car. And in my lifetime, research suggests that I will buy 8 Nissans because I'm a loyal customer. I have 577 friends. Maybe after this, I might have 578. That equals 75,000 friends of friends. In my personal experience, I have converted in my friends, 6 of my friends, into loyal Nissan owners. If that ratio holds true, they are likely to convert 6 of their friends. So 36 of their friends to be fans or loyal customers of Nissan. Again, imperfect. I want to caveat that. It's a thought exercise. But if you think about this in loyalty, I will likely sell 288 Nissans in my lifetime, not including the 8 that I'm likely to buy, that I'm a loyal customer, through my connections. A lot of times people ask us, well, that's great, talk about the social graph, but like, what does it mean? Like, how can we be successful? How can loyalty marketing work? How do you do it, right? We get asked how a lot. We think there are 3 steps to being successful in social and how they apply to loyalty. First, build connections. They matter in your business. Connect with your most loyal customers. This is simple. It's your Facebook page. And it matters because this is your beginning or your foundation for how you can connect with consumers. Build it out with care. Put your best people on it and spend money on it. Not with us. Pages are free, but spend money on it. Think about it as your foundation, your connection to your most loyal customers. Second, reach their fans. Do this across those connections, those white lines that I was talking about. When a customer likes something on Facebook, it is shared with her friends or his friends. On average, 130 of them. Nielsen studies show, on average, 68% of people that see these ads are more likely to recall seeing these ads if their friend's name is in the ad. They're 100% more likely to see the ad, recall the ad message, and 300% more likely to purchase. Back to that Nissan example. Build the page, connect with friends, and finally, engage. Engage them through social products and social technology. This means integrating social into all your marketing efforts. Use our platform, use our tools. Again, by the way, these are free. Leverage the technology in that map and those connections to connect with people and put it all together. This is what it looks like when it comes together. we believe loyalty and loyalty marketing is much more than points, cards, deals. Those things are certainly important. We believe it's about people, their friends, and the things they care about most, and the stories that they tell each other. My Nissan example was only meant to be slightly provocative. Whether I sell 288 or not, I don't know if that's the exact numbers. But I think it is really interesting in that when you think about social and you think about the social graph and those 5 things that I shared with you about my life, those weren't just 5 anythings. Those are 5 of the most pivotal decisions that I have made in my entire life. And that social, in particular the social graph, is not just about my friends. It's really much more than that. It's about everything. It's who I know, the things that I like. It's the intelligence about the things that I do. Whether that's that I own a Nissan or that what flight I took here this morning because I checked in at the San Jose airport and checked in at the Las Vegas airport to my favorite soft drink. And so the challenge is I think that there's a lot of upside and there's a lot of opportunity going forward, and that we're still restricting the use of this technology by walking in front of it with the red flag. And I want to leave with one more final comment from Facebook before I take some questions, which is this. We have a saying, or I should say Mark has a saying, where we believe that the journey is only 1% finished. We see the company and our technology as only in its infancy, and that there's a lot of room to go. Now, some people can perceive that as arrogance, and it's not meant to be arrogance. It's really to say that we're at the beginning. And we believe that these connections, this living map of essential connections, are important to consumers, that we live in a post-connection era, and that that's not going to go away. In order for us to be successful, businesses aren't going to be part of that. Businesses have to be part of that. And that it is really early days. And I'm excited to see the things that we can create together in this room for consumers, for businesses, and for brands. So with that, I want to say thank you.
Okay, so we actually have a live representative from Facebook up here in the form of Michael, so I'm sure you all have some questions for him, and we have a few minutes for a few questions, so hopefully we have some. Yes, back here.
How are you? It's good to see you again.
So the talk of the discussion was social CRM.
Yep.
And you hear a lot about social CRM and much more. So for your presentation, are you saying that with the Facebook content you have, that you're able to actually make those one-to-one connections to your platform versus a third-party CRM system integrated into Facebook? Could that be somewhat limited in our ability to send those one-to-one directions?
So certainly the data is there because the consumer is giving us the data, right? So I think there's in that question, if I want to unpack, I think there's a couple questions in there. I think the idea of creating CRM initiatives outside of a social environment are limited in the scope of what's possible for brands, and that if you if you think about social, and once you make a connection with that individual, you're not only connecting with that person as a fan, but you're connecting to their network. And that the idea of CRM traditionally has been, how do I retain that customer just for me, and how do I either get them to visit me one more time or go and buy one more car, or if I have 5-year cycle on the car redemption. Again, whether those numbers are right, not just being illustrative, can I move that to 4.5? The question that I would push back on, and maybe didn't come through in the presentation, is that social CRM or loyalty should be about me and my friends. And what influence or advocacy can I have on behalf of the brand? The data is there. Whether you work with us directly or a third party can plug into that data and make that data more powerful, assuming the user authorizes and gives that information to you. But Facebook is my true identity with my true friends. And the second I make that connection, I have it for not only me and my friends. So how do I drive retention and loyalty, not just on one-to-one, but I would open up that aperture and say, how do I drive retention for me and my friends, and how do I allow my friends to tell those stories? That example of Nissan is absolutely true. We're a 2-car family, we have Nissans, and I persuaded people to buy Nissans. And if you think about what happens in your offline world, there's probably an example here tonight where we'll be like, oh, we're going to go to this bar, we're going to go to this restaurant. Oh, no, you got to try this restaurant. And those things happen in the real world. And so I look at the question of social CRM and open that up and say, how do you think about me and my friends, not just me and trying to get me to buy one more thing or do one more visit? If that answers your question.
Yeah, no, I can technology because I have something on the thread, I have data. I want to say to the person like that.
Right. The Facebook product experience will continue to evolve. And while today you can't send the one-to-one message per se, I wouldn't necessarily, again, above my pay grade to talk about product, I wouldn't rule anything out.
That's great. You have a question back here?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Thanks for coming out. Interesting comments. You talk about red flags, waving in front of the technology. Many of us are in the incentives business, and the Facebook terms of service has been unstable at best, or unstable at best relative to the use of incentives via the APIs and whatnot. And I'm wondering if you have any point of view on that, if there's any policy changes that are likely to come, and if you think you might be waving some of your own red flags in front of how we use the technology.
Yeah, it's a good question. I wish I had a super direct answer for you. I don't. I think the reality is that this is a really new territory for a lot of businesses. It's certainly new for us. Our terms of service have changed, and I think they'll likely continue to change as we continue to push the evolution of product. And we're working really hard on stability. We work hard on the stability from making sure that the experience is stable for the customer, and certainly we want it to be stable for our brand partners. Know that it's a priority at Facebook to continue to make sure that there's stability there. Would I say to you that things are going to get to steady state and be stable? I just don't think that that is our culture. I know that's not our culture, and we're going to continue to push to optimize for the best overall consumer experience. And I recognize that that can be frustrating as partners working with us. But being very transparent and realistic, I just don't see that going away anytime soon.
Let's try some other questions. Start over here.
Well, the user's choosing, first of all, those connections. But I can best, let me give an example, and if I don't answer your question, come back to it. So there's social technologies. We talk about technologies. We have things like social plugins, like buttons and share buttons that can be integrated across the web. Amazon, I share all the time into my news feed. And I see, when I share a book, a video, or something of that, I actually see transactions happening. My comments fill up where people say, I sent this to my Kindle. I bought this book. And so we have products that allow sponsor stories, one that we talked about, allow those interactions between brand and consumer to actually be put into an ad product that actually can amplify that and push that message out. And so there are products that when I have an interaction or I take that connection and I'm sharing something or I'm commenting or I'm having that conversation with my friends, that the brand has the opportunity to use that to actually push it to a wider audience. Does that answer your question? Those things happen in the offline world anyhow. Right? If a customer has a bad experience, now you have the opportunity to actually react. You have the opportunity to maybe take that and turn it into something that's positive. But that happens all the time. You walk into a restaurant, it's a terrible experience, and you tell somebody about it, and that person may or may not go. I think, well, that happens, and I'm not saying that that doesn't happen. I think that that's an opportunity where you could put your best foot forward. I think one of the powerful parts of social is that it's an incredible customer service tool. It's an incredible way to take care of those that are your most loyal and your biggest advocates for the brand, while also, with speed, answering those questions and potentially turning that into a positive. For me, I would rather know than not know. And there's a little bit of, it isn't that part, and then, again, not being flippant, that part isn't going to go away. So what do you do as a brand to create opportunities to turn that into, at least if it's not neutral, if you cannot change it into a positive, how do you make it neutral?
Okay, we got time for one more, and then we will, I'm sure Mike will be happy to answer some questions offline. Yes, ma'am.
We have 100 million likes, I think is the latest number. I'm going to put this number out there. Ask you not tweet it to make sure I get it right, but I think it's something like 100 million likes happen with brand pages every single day. Certainly with 800 million people connecting to the friends, that is going to be huge, but relative volume, it's absolutely significant.
Great. Well, thanks, Michael. Thanks
Thank
for your
you.
time.